Hey guys, it's me, Minecraft World. Um, so, welcome to my top 5 movies of 2023. This was something I was originally not gonna do because of the writers actor strike, but now that that's over, I can do it. Um, so, 2023. This was a bit of a mixed year for me. In terms of media, I think this was a fantastic year, despite what everyone else is saying. A lot of good things came out, and a lot of bad things came out. But in terms of movies, a lot of the stuff that I saw was really good. I really quite enjoyed it. Um, though I didn't watch too many movies this year. I did watch more than last year, but not that many. And I did experience a lot of media this year. I finally got to play Gigabash for the first time. I finished reading the Nemesis Saga back in January. I got to read Titanic Creations Soul War, and I started reading Kaiju number 8 in prep for the anime. And all three of those I really loved, as well as Gigabash. Gigabash is one of my favorite games ever made, and I absolutely adore it. Um, Ninjago Dragons Rising was a massive breath of fresh air after the disappointment that was crystallized. Lego Monkey Kid had its best season yet and became my favorite television show ever made. Um, and I finally got to experience Gargoyles for the first time, which was great. I loved it. Same with Transformers Animated. I love Transformers Animated, and I got to rewatch Transformers Prime, which was also great as well. Um, as well as that, Gamera Rebirth was just as good or better than I expected it to be. Watch my review for that for my formulated thoughts. Well, more rambly thoughts, but still. Um, but yeah. But this year was mixed for me emotionally and mentally. See, at the start of the year, I was pretty well. I was feeling pretty good about myself and all of that. But then, about halfway through, I started gathering a massive lack of motivation. A lot, a lot of the projects that I wanted to do, I just suddenly lost a lot of motivation to do so. And emotionally speaking, I started getting a lot of negative feelings, a lot of personal demons, and just started not feeling great. I don't know if it was specifically burnout or other things, but it was a bit of a rough time. And I'm going to be honest, I'm still dealing with that. Just recently, that stuff has started been going away, but I'm still dealing with that. A lot of phobias have cropped up, and a lot of negative things have started to crop up that I don't really like to talk about. But during that time, I also made new friends. I also got to talk about things that I really enjoyed. I finally joined the official Death Battle Discord server, and it's amazing. Well, mostly amazing. There have been some negative instances, and some of that stuff has put me off of a lot of things that I like, including mythology matchups. I still enjoy mythology as is, and I still love talking about it, but there's only really one mythology matchup that I'd want now, that being Mothman versus Absol. As well as that, I've managed to I've had to reinvent my top 10 because I lost a lot of interest in my most wanted in a few of my most wanted matchups. Um, I don't know if I'm going to make a new top 10 video, but still, I had to change that. Though, Death Battle itself was really, really good this year. Season 10 one had me rethink my top 10 three times, had five of my favorite fictional characters or fictional villains show up in this season, and was all around probably the best season we've had of Death Battle. It was fantastic with three episodes in particular: Goku versus Superman, um, Scooby-Doo versus Courage the Cowardly Dog, and Bill Cipher versus Discord, all making my top 10. Bill Cipher versus Discord even becoming my new second favorite episode of the show. This season was phenomenal. So, yeah, in terms of the media, I think it was great. I really enjoyed it. But emotionally and social life, it was a mixed bag. I made a lot of new friends, but I had a lot of negative experiences. But during my negative time, there were movies that I could go back and check out. So, today, let's talk about my favorite movies of 2023, as well as a few honorable mentions. So, I was originally going to leave out the honorable mentions list, but I decided against that. So, yeah. Number 5, Blue Beetle. So, Blue Beetle was a really hard spot to take. It was between this, Barbie, and Guardians 3 for my third place. Because all three of those movies I really, really enjoyed. However, Blue Beetle struck me in a way that none of the others did. All three were really fun movies. Barbie was a surprisingly enjoyable film, and Guardians 3, I knew it was going to be good, and it was. I liked it. But Blue Beetle legitimately shocked me the most. This film felt a heck of a lot like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man film, the 2002 Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie, which is another one of my favorite superhero movies of all time. And honestly, but it felt a bit more personal. Being half Colombian, yeah, it wasn't exactly Colombian, but it shared a lot of similarities with my family's culture, and that's something that I enjoy. Um, and all in all, the movie is still a really, really fun ride. It's a bit of a shame that it bombed, but yeah. The characters were enjoyable. Jaime is a very, very fun protagonist. I really, really like him a lot. Um, and the action is actually pretty good. They use practical effects, which I'm a sucker for. I love that stuff. In an age of CGI, I think practical effects are should be far more cherished than they normally are. And yeah, this movie really just was an absolute blast. I liked it from start to finish, and if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend it. Yeah, it's generic, but it's a superhero movie. It's one of those classic superhero movies that harkens back to the age of to those original films. Films like the Sam Raimi Spider-Man films, or the Tim Burton Batman movies, or the Christopher Reeve Superman films, where it embraces the comic bookness and tells its story using that campy nature as well as the culture that it's set in. And I love that. So yeah, Blue Beetle. I liked it. Number 4, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem. Mutant Mayhem, honestly, this is the most accurate in terms of like how the characters should be portrayed as teenagers, as well as the most updated version, but not my favorite. My favorite's still 2012, and it'll probably remain that way for a while. Um, that being said, Mutant Mayhem is still a really fun movie. It's refreshing to not have Shredder as the main villain, which is like I love Shredder, but I didn't need him to be the main villain of this film. He's probably going to be the main villain in the next Mutant Mayhem series film, which I'm okay with. But I'm glad you didn't start out with him. Um, and yeah, um, the Leonardo was, well, it was fine. Mikey was well done. Raph was well done. Donnie was legitimately hilarious. I loved him. Um, and yeah, this film is a really, really enjoyable film, as well as just visually looking fantastic. I know a lot of people are giving it a more of a graffiti look, but I can't not see an emulated stop motion look, resembling that of like classic claymation films, which I think really, really suits it. And yeah, I personally really liked Mutant Mayhem. It was an absolutely enjoyable blast, and I think I think people should give it more. Should people? I think people should check it out a bit more. It's it's a really fun ride. Number three, the Super Mario Brothers movie. This was my most anticipated movie of 2023, and it mostly lived up to it. It mostly lived up to the anticipation. From the trailers, I figured, okay, this is actually going to be a really fun film. I was a little concerned with some of the casting choices, but as the trailers went on, I actually got used to it, and I knew that I had to make a review for this. And when I first saw the movie, yeah, I did. This this was a really, really enjoyable ride. I went to see it twice in theaters, and I liked it both times. Um, the film itself is a very loving homage to Super Mario and to the franchise and the character's legacy, and I don't hate that. Every single character here straight up shines. It's each of them have their own thing. Yeah, Peach is debatably awkwardly implemented. I didn't hate it, but I know a lot of people did. Some for good reasons, some for not good reasons. Um, but overall, I didn't hate this movie. I had a good time with it, and I think a lot of people should give it a watch. Though I'm assuming a lot of people did give it a watch. It was the highest grossing animated movie this year, and I'm pretty happy about that. I'm pretty happy about that. I liked it a lot, so yeah, I think yeah, I think this movie is really enjoyable. Watch my review of the film for more coherent thoughts if you want that. Um, but yeah, I liked it. Number two, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. So this one had a lot to live up to. Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse is one of my all-time favorite movies and my second favorite animated movie, as well as one of my favorite superhero movies. And this film had a heck of a lot to live up to, alongside Shazam 2 and similarly to A Quiet Place 2. So, did it? Yes, yes, it did. Yes, it very much did. Um, this film is just fantastic. It feels like a natural continuation from Miles Morales' arc from the first one. And I think that's a good thing. I think sequels to previously existing movies should feel like natural continuations to the original film, whether they be good or bad. They should feel like this is where the story would go. And that's it. It expanded on Miles's arc, and I think that's really good. Every single character here is enjoyable. Well, mostly enjoyable. Um, like a few of them are forgettable, but a lot of them really do shine. Miguel O'Hara has been memed to hell and back. The Spot was sidelined, but he was still enjoyable. Gwen had a really compelling character arc here, and I didn't hate it. Actually, really, it's fantastic. And of course, Miles Morales is enjoyable as ever. In fact, they made him more enjoyable than the first one. So, yeah, all in all, across the Spider Verse, this was a very worthy continuation of my second favorite animated movie. I loved it, and I'm very excited to see what happens when they go beyond the Spider Verse. Whenever the heck that movie is going to release. So, before we get to the number one, as per usual, let's go to the honorable mentions. I have a few movies that I want to mention that I saw this year and that I liked. First, Barbie. I didn't watch Oppenheimer because the theater that we went to see it in, I say we because I tried to go with my brothers. Um, the theater that me and my brothers tried to go see it in didn't let us in. But yeah, I enjoyed Barbie. I got half the experience, and I'm hoping to watch Oppenheimer as soon as possible. But Barbie was still enjoyable. I was quite surprised at how much I liked it. Um, and yeah, yeah. I know a lot of people are going to be mixed on this film for, well, okay, reasons. But on its own, I liked it, and everyone in this film definitely looked like they had a blast there. If there's something else that I enjoy about a movie that can help it a bit, it's passion. And this looked like a passion project. This looked like a film that everyone on the set had an absolute blast with. So I'm happy with that. Next up, Nimona. Not a lot of people saw this movie and less were talking about it, which is a darn shame because wow, is this movie good. Um, I I have not read the original comic. I plan to, but as its own, I was still really able to enjoy it, and it was still a really fun blast. The titular character is enjoyable as all hell, and pretty much everyone else is just really good. Yeah. It's a darn shame that very few people saw this movie, to my knowledge, because it's good. It's really good. And then finally, Transformers Rise of the Beasts. This movie, I've seen a lot of mixed reception to it, but personally, I had a good time with it. A lot of the characters are really well developed. I actually really liked that take on Optimus Prime. It felt like a more natural version of what the Bayverse was doing. I'm not saying trying to do, I'm saying doing. Where Optimus Prime it has become far more jaded and grizzled because of how long the wars lasted. It feels like a natural evolution to the character. As well as that, um, the humans were really enjoyable this time around. Not as good as Bumblebee, but they were still really enjoyable. And the rest of the Transformers, both good and bad, were really good. Though, would it have killed you to give the beasts more to do? Seriously. Cheetor only had like 3 lines. Rhinox said nothing, and because of that, Rhinox's figure is shell forming hard. Yeah, I got into Transformers collecting this year. And finally, for my number 1 pick, this one should come as no surprise. Godzilla minus one. Yeah, look, I was expecting good. I wasn't expecting one of the best examples that the genre has to offer. This movie, wow, just wow. The best human cast of any Godzilla movie. The first time they got me to root against my favorite fictional character. One of the best OSTs for any kaiju movie. And just, wow. Wow. This film is amazing. If you have not seen it yet, please do so. I know a lot of people have, but if you haven't, please, please, please do so. Um, this film legitimately deserves to be as well received as it is. It's immaculate. Godzilla is legitimately terrifying in this film. The human characters are some of the best human characters in the kaiju genre, alongside the Heisei Gamera trilogy and Pacific Rim for me, as well as the best human cast in any Godzilla movie. Every single character here is phenomenal. Please do yourself a favor and watch this film. Give it the love it deserves, and yeah, just do that. It's really good. It's really good. It's fantastic. If you want more coherent thoughts, please watch my dual review for Gamera Rebirth and Godzilla Minus One. And yeah, I love this movie. This film managed to overthrow Gamera Revenge of Iris as my second favorite kaiju movie ever made, and A Quiet Place as my fourth favorite movie ever made. I love this. I love this. And those were my top 5 movies of 2023. A lot of positive stuff here, which I think is much needed in an age of hatred and bigotry. And I personally needed that after a rough year with the lack of motivation. So, yeah. 2024, I don't think it's gonna live up to it, but I'm hoping it tries. Um, right off the bat, a lot of the movies that are shown, the only one that I have much interest in, the only two that I have much interest in are Kung Fu Panda 4 and Godzilla Kong the New Empire, which the former is a lot of people are excited for, the latter is somewhat controversial, which was expected after -1. So, yeah, I'm excited, but I'm also a little nervous. As but yeah, this year was a good time, and I'm personally really happy with some of the stuff that we have. The kaiju community was eating well this year, and and a lot of good stuff came out. The death battle community had its best season yet, even if the versus community was a bit more obnoxious than usual. Um, well, on some people's end, on my end, it was actually mostly fine, but that's because I did my own thing for some of that stuff. Um, but yeah, in general, I had a mostly good year. So yeah, I think next year is gonna be pretty fun. Anyways, that's all from me. Take care. Peace.